So, good evening, everyone. So, welcome to Cheenta Student Research Presentation Series. So, the title for today's research is Markov Chain for Portfolio Optimization, a research project led by Siddiq, Arnav, and Ayan. So, the ball is yours. You can start.
Hey everyone, this is Markov Chain for Portfolio Optimization by Sadiq Ahmed. So, this is our introduction. So, in this research project, we have done portfolio optimization under regime switching. Markov regimes exhibit nonlinear transitions, and Markov models capture dynamic regime behavior. So, our motivation was a bit different to everyone else's because we analyzed the markets and realized that markets behavior different depending on volatility and trends and differ from day to day. Single regime models. Single regime models fail to capture regime specific dynamics, which we realized, and regime based allocation minimizes drawdowns, which we use to improve our model. So, here is our model overview that we three together built. So, in our model, we used hidden regimes governing returns, asset returns conditioned on regimes, and transition probabilities between states to analyze our results. So, here is our Markov chain diagram. In this, we see three regimes, and we can see that each of these regimes can be directly going to any other regime with one line or two. So, here is our portfolio allocation strategy. We computed expected returns per regime, then we optimized portfolio weights for each state, and then allocated based on regime probabilities for our final model. So, here is our regime states. We have 6 market regimes defined by returns relative to mean and standard deviation. So we had 6 states, S0, S1, S2, S3, S4, and S5. And as you can see, we have 6 categories: highly bearish, bearish, neutral, neutral, bullish, and highly bullish.
So, uh, in this slide is about the transition matrix. So, as you can see, once the regimes are defined, we estimate the transition matrix using the formula shown. Each element in the matrix represents the probability of moving from one regime to another, calculated using historical frequencies and maximum likelihood estimation. The matrix is a row stochastic, meaning each row sums to 1, which ensures valid probability transitions. This matrix is crucial because it captures how the market evolved over time rather than assuming random or independent movements. Going to the next slide. So, the Markov validation tests. Before trusting the Markov model, we validate two key assumptions. First, stationarity, using the Pearson chi square test to verify whether transition probabilities remain stable over time. A p-value greater than 0.05 confirms time homogeneity. Second, memorylessness. This test checks whether future states depend only on the current state and not on earlier history. Passing both these tests confirm that a first order Markov chain is an appropriate and statistically sound choice. Going to the next slide. So, this slide is about the divergence measures that we tested. So instead of directly maximizing returns, we frame portfolio optimization as a distribution matching problem. We measure how close the portfolio's empirical return distribution is to desired target distribution using divergence metrics. We experiment with multiple divergence like Care divergence, Jensen-Shannon, Hellinger, and Wasserstein. Each metric captures a different notion of similarity, allowing us to control risk concentration tail behavior and stability more effectively. Going to the next slide. The optimization formulation. So this slide shows the formal optimization problem. Our objective is to minimize the divergence between the desired distribution and the portfolio index distribution. We impose realistic constraints. All portfolio weights must sum to 1 and short selling is not allowed. This formulation ensures that the model remains both mathematically rigorous and practically implementable in real markets.
So now we'll be talking about particle swarm optimization. Particle swarm optimization works in a simple fashion. First, we choose a set of per se 30 particles. So now it works with the two key update equations. First, the velocity update balances three forces: inertia from the particle's current distance attracted to its personal best position, and attraction to the global best position found by the entire swarm. The parameters C1 and C2 control the strength of the personal versus social learning, while R1 and R2 add randomness to prevent premature convergence. Secondly, the position update simply moves each particle according to its velocity. Now, please move on to the next slide. Our dataset was very simple. We had 25 US equities from 5 different sectors. We had a period from 2018 to 2024, around 7 years, and we only took daily returns. Our sectors were various, as we already talked about, and we made sure to take broad stocks such as Apple, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, so on and so forth. Next, we pre-process in a harsh way: log returns, standardization, outlier treatment, so on and so forth. And then our regimes were via quantile binning, which we've already talked about previously. Next slide, please. So our performance results were tremendous for Emerald. We had 1.87 with a return of 14.2, completely demolishing equal weight and risk parity. And if we compare it to other methods such as we've already talked about risk weight, but we have the single best asset strategy. This is a higher raw returns at 18.7, but it's a catastrophic drawdowns if something goes wrong, exceeding around 52.8 or 52.9, which is very bad. Next slide, please. So our optimal configuration was figured out with our best hyperparameters. State dimensions were n equals 6 or n equals 7. We didn't want n equals 4 to be 4 since it would be too simple, and n equals 10 since it would be too complex and granular. Our divergence metric was Jensen-Shannon since it was very symmetric. That was its main good point. Our optimizer was Gray-Wolf algorithm. PSO was a very close one. It was a Sharp of 1.65, while Gray-Wolf algorithm had 1.72. Gray-Wolf algorithm works in a similar method to PSO. Next slide, please. Now, if we were to add each of the components, we get a total of 1.87. We get the straight discretization gives us 0.45. Markov validation gives us 0.32. Multi-divergence gives us 0.38. Metaheuristic optimization such as PSO, GWO, so on and so forth, gives you 0.52. Next slide, please. So, to summarize it all up, everything that Emerald gave us was a superior Sharp ratio compared to many other simpler strategies of a 1.87, lower drawdowns of only 28.1%. It's effective across not just technology or finance, but most market sectors. It's also interpretable and it can predict, since this market is always not predictable. It can predict the unpredictable, simply. Now, the future is multivariate regimes with more variables than just the two we talked about, and transaction costs too. Thank you. These are our references.
Yeah. So thank you for your efforts, Siddiq, uh, Arnav, and Ayan. Thanks for joining.